morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, Out of Voice Radio. So today, we are looking at Gyarados GX. And some people have been saying, do we need another Gyarados card? And the answer is, I don't know if we need another Gyarados card, but let's face it. Gyarados is one of the most popular ones. Always has been. Probably always will be. So don't expect this to be the last Gyarados we ever have. Now, being a water Pokemon means you will be destroying cards like Volcanion and Turtonator, which are seeing a bunch of play around at the moment, and the weakness to Lightning could actually be a little bit of a pain, because even though Lightning decks aren't big at the moment, Vikavolt Tapu Bulu plays Vikavolt, which would be a good attacker against something like Gyarados. Similarly, a lot of the recent lists I've seen for Vikavolt Tapu Bulu have started teching in a Tapu Koko GX, although to be honest, the Tapu Koko promo that they're playing with a choice band would also be able to get a one-hit KO here. So actually, fairly bad weakness, but only against that one deck. But the 240 HP is ludicrous. I've been saying for a while now that Alolan Muck has the highest HP of any Stage 1 GX at 220. Gyarados is just flat up there with Stage 2 GXs. We got a bunch of Stage 2 GXs that have 240 HP. Gardevoir only has 230, and that's a Stage 2. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a bit dumb, but hey-ho, these things happen. Retreat cost of 4 is huge, but we've got Heavy Ball, so we don't mind too much. First attack here, very, very straightforward, the same as the Regice we revealed the other day. Water, double colourless energy, 70 damage. Nice and straightforward, but I said it in the Regice video, and I'll say it again now. If you're using a water attack at the moment, 70 is the perfect amount of damage for which to be hitting. Because you do 70... and that means that a baby Volcanion, hey Nick, will be hit for 140 and KO'd. You pop a choice band on there, and against a Volcanion EX or a Turtonator GX, you're doing 200, which again will be a nice easy one-hit KO. Life is good, you've taken a couple of prizes. Now, in terms of the energy cost here, it's not the end of the world. You have, of course, got double colourless energy that will work, although, as I always say with double colourless energy, we've got plenty of options to get rid of it. We've got Enhanced Hammer. We've got the promo Jirachi, which isn't seeing play at the moment, but might see play again in the future. We've got Drampa, and then, of course, this is coming out in Crimson Invasion. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? So is Kartana. And Kartana's ability is just an Enhanced Hammer, but you can search it out with an Ultra Ball. So, yeah. Those double colourless energy aren't going to be particularly secure. You do, however, have Aqua Patch. Aqua Patch is good, ladies and gentlemen. Attach a water energy from your discard to one of your benched water Pokemon. That can really help to get Gyarados up and rolling nice and quickly. Of course, if you're just playing this for the first attack, if you're just playing this as a kind of anti-water deck Pokemon, it's not as good as Regice. Regice has this attack, it can use Aqua Patch, it can use double colourless, but being a basic, it can also use Max Elixir. So I like this first attack, but we've got a Pokemon that uses it better. The second attack, however, good. Water and 4 colourless energy. Still not the end of the world, because again, you've still got double colourless, you've still got Aqua Patch, but let's be clear, this is pretty gosh darn expensive. And it's Gaia Volcano, ladies and gentlemen. It is just the attack of Groudon, or should I say Primal Groudon EX. Now, it's actually called Dragon Calamity, but, you know, it's Gaia Volcano. 100 damage if there's a stadium in play, discard it, and do 200 damage. Now, you add a choice band on there, you're now hitting 230 damage. It's not enough to KO most Stage 2 GXs, but it's enough to KO all the basics. It's enough to KO all the Stage 1s other than other Gyarados, and it's enough to KO Gardevoir. You're doing a huge amount of damage, although you do have the same problem you had when you were playing Groudon. You need to actually have a stadium in play, or else you can only hit for 100. And 100 for 5 energy, we might finally found an attack worse than Charizard GX's. Now, there are some stadiums you want to play. In Expanded, you've of course got Rough Seas, but in Standard, you've got Brooklet Hill. Search out your water and your fighting Pokemon, get a basic, pop it down on your bench. Brooklet Hill's a good idea here, although you may need a few more stadiums. Now, do remember we talked about Lusamine the other day. I will pop a link to that one in the description. I'll also pop a Regice link down there. And Lusamine allows you to just get your supporters and your stadiums back. So in this deck, especially if you're playing Gyarados GX, you can use Lusamine to get your supporters, fine, but you can use it to get your stadiums, and then you can pop a stadium down and hit for 200. Let's be clear, hitting for 200, 230 with a choice band is immense. It will one-hit KO most things. Not the 240, 250 GXs, but there aren't that many of them. The really annoying thing is it won't one-hit KO a Metagross. It will if you play a Kukui, but you can't have a Kukui every single game. Boo! Although I suppose you could use a promo Tapu Koko, spread 20 damage around, and then be one-hit KOing Metagross, because Metagross ain't one-hit KOing you. One of the big issues here, we've already said about Vikavolt Bulu and how they're going to have a counter for this. Well, when you're playing 5 energy, you know what else is going to counter this? Gardevoir GX. Gardevoir is going to be a great counter for this, ladies and gentlemen, because you've already got 5 energy on you. So they're doing 150. Which means they only need 3 energy or 2 in a choice band to hit 240 and get a one-hit KO on Gyarados. That's a little bit of an issue. I like this attack, but it's really bad against Gardevoir. You've already got an issue with Vikavolt Bulu, and when it comes to Metagross, you'll probably be a bit slower. You can only one-hit KO if you use a Kukui or a promo Tapu Koko. It's not amazing. However, you will be smashing Volcanion Turtonator, but overall this second attack especially doesn't really shore up those matchups. But I tell you what's really good, ladies and gentlemen, the GX attack, which just allows you to discard 1 energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. That is ridiculous. It's great, and it's for 1 energy. So you swap 1 energy of yours for potentially up to 6 energy off your opponent's side of the field. Now, against things like Metagross, this might not be the worst thing ever, because they can just recover it again. Against things like Gardevoir, they can use their GX attack to get it back, but then again, these are all ifs and buts and maybes. There's a Metagross in the active with 2 energy, you discard 1, plus all the bench. They still need an energy to retreat to get a new Metagross in the active. So you're helping yourself. Against Gardevoir, yes, they can get a whole bunch of energy out, but if you can get 1 energy off each of them, maybe that can buy you the time you need to set up a couple of Gyarados. Because the thing is, Gardevoir's still a stage 2. Gardevoir still needs 3 energy, or 2 in a choice band, in order to get the KO on Gyarados. So if you can slow them down with Dreadstorm GX long enough to build up 2 Gyarados, you KO Gardevoir, they KO you back. But then you KO Gardevoir, and then it's awkward for them to try and KO you back. I'm not saying this is going to smash Gardevoir. It's going to be difficult with the 5 energy cost. But I am saying that the GX attack here is going to be a huge help. And let's be clear about this. Discarding 1 energy off each of your opponent's Pokemon is just plain good. So let's take Golisopod Garbodor, for instance. They're going to sit there and they'll often have a grass energy on Golisopod and a rainbow energy on Garbodor, and, you know, they tend to put 1 energy on each of their Pokemon, and they don't play all that many energy. So as soon as you come and use this GX attack and discard 1 energy off each of those Pokemon, yeah, that could end up putting you in a great position in the game. I really like it, but I don't know if I love either of the other 2 attacks. I like the first attack, but I just think Regice does it better on a basic, and you can use Max Elixir. I like the second attack. I love how much damage it does, but it makes you vulnerable to Gardevoir when you're already vulnerable to Vikavolt. And I love the GX attack, but are you really going to be playing this as a 1-1 tech just for the GX attack? And the answer is maybe you will. Maybe you're playing some water box deck with Lapras. Maybe you're playing Greninja, and because you're playing a water energy anyway, you just stick a 1-1 Gyarados line in there so that at some point during the game you can grab Gyarados, use a GX attack, and put your opponent in a position from which they will not recover. It's a possibility. But I don't know how much I buy it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it's a good tech. I'm going to give Gyarados 3 Wassies. And if that seems generous, the answer is simple. The GX attack is great. And you can hit 230. And yes, it's expensive, and yes, Gardevoir is going to take advantage of this, but you're not always going to be playing against Gardevoir. And when you're not, 5 energy and then hitting for 230 is really good, and I would highly recommend it. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. There's bonus pods, go get them. And I should say a thank you to both at Autobot Tesla on Twitter and PokeBeach for giving translations of Gyarados. I use them both in the making of this video. So, thank you very much for watching. The most important thing is always look after yourselves until next time. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.